Safe. Here I am Khushbu Parveen, Communication and Marketing Officer at Metro Rail today, welcoming you in our special show Industry Talks. So viewers, as you are aware that Urban Transport News and Metro Rail today has jointly launched an on-demand industry talk show to seek and discuss opinion from the industry leaders about the recent trends in railway, metro, transportation, infrastructure and construction industry. Viewers, today our next guest speaker is the one who has a quality of leadership and personal management. He has worked at various positions in Indian Army and now he is working as a Chief Executive Officer for Line 1 at Mumbai Metro 1 Private Limited. He has so many qualities to tell about. So let's welcome him and listen his success story from his own words. So let's welcome Mr. Shubhodoy Mukherjee. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, Kushbu. Good afternoon. I'm fine. Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, so Anushka is here. She will take you further interview. So, okay, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Anushka.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Anushka?
I'm good, sir. So, okay, let's start, sir. Firstly, kindly accept our heartiest congratulations for bagging Urban Mobility India Awards 2021 for Metro Rail with the best passenger services and satisfaction at 14th Urban Mobility India Conference 2021. About your professional journey in the railway industry.
Right. After my 24 years of military service, I happened to join Mumbai Metro uh, when it was at the project stage in 2010. The project had just taken on, and I joined here. It was the most challenging period of my life because here I was transitioning from the military service to a infrastructure service, and that to a brownfield project in one of the most complex and congested city of Mumbai. Mumbai was getting its first metro. We were very excited. We could see the excitement in the people, but constructing in the life systems of Mumbai, where through the traffic was very challenging. My initial stages here were spent in project management, in setting up the administrative setup of the organization, and in setting the organization, developing the organization. And happy to say that we did it in a record time of about 4 years. From 2010 to 2014, we were operational. 2014 onwards, it was a different story altogether. Mumbai Metro in the last 7 years is one of the densest metro in India. It is the densest metro in India and is the seventh densest metro in the world. So, running a public transport utility which carries 4.5 lakh every day commuters safely back is a great privilege for us, also a great responsibility. And we all here in Mumbai Metro are always very enthused. Yeah.
All right, sir. Please tell us about parameters and standards which Mumbai Metro 1 has achieved to bag this prestigious award from the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs.
Oh, yes. The award, which is the award under the category of passenger services and satisfaction, best metro and passenger service and satisfaction, has been a unique reward for us. And I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate firstly Mumbaikars who are such wonderful, sort of trained mass rapid transport users. You give them a good transport system, and they have proved that they take on to it with great amount of ownership. They help us in sort of running this system, I would say, in a way. I would also like to thank my colleagues, particularly, who actually deserve because of their effort and dedication. Now, let me give you this reason why I say this. This award has been done very objectively, and we've been assessed on various parameters. The parameters include the reliability and punctuality. It include the how we keep our stations maintained. How do we, sort of provide last mile connectivity to our commuters? What are the station amenities and facilities in terms of that? How do the people feel interacting with the live spaces while moving, while making their transits? And most importantly, in today's time, particularly, the safety in terms of health hygiene and their security. Giving a little background, if you see the Mumbai transport scenario, it is not a very pleasant experience. People get up in from far away suburbans to travel to another place to work, and the experience is always one that is crowded and not so clean and hugely challenging for people early in the morning and while coming back, and all of them take a lot of time. Mumbai Metro was the first modern transportation system in every which way. It was not about crowd. It was not about dirty public spaces. It was about orderly, sort of good ride comfort in AC environments, good clean stations with 100% assurance of punctuality. So it changed the entire landscape of how Mumbaikars looked at public transport. And you are aware, if you sort of give them once a taste of good transport system, a good mass rapid transit system, they actually start demanding more. And that's why you see so many metros coming up with Metro 1 as the precursor to it. Now, the parameters, like I said, was the reliability, punctuality, maintenance at the station, station amenities. Now, for this, we had to go out and carry out independent agencies, survey. It was very objective survey, and the data that we got from the survey, it was conducted by WRI, which is a reputed firm, and the data was analyzed by them, and that was the data that the panel of judges appointed by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, who sort of critically went through that. It went through a couple of phases for us to finally be declared as the recipient of that award. Gives us a lot of satisfaction that it only endorses and our good work, our dedication, and as like I said, the fact that Mumbaikars have accepted us with their heart, from their heart.
Okay. All right, sir. So you have been working in the Indian Army for more than 15 years, and now you are a part of the corporate world. What have you felt about different experience in both cultures?
Okay, that okay, yeah. So I was commissioned in the Indian Army in 1985, and after having served 24 years, after having commanded a regiment, I took premature retirement because I wanted to work somewhere else too, and if I was challenging myself if I could do some sort of try something, some other thing, and I ventured out, and I have two sets of working, sort of environments. One was the Indian Army, whose value system was very, very clear. So there were a couple of things on which the cultural values of the Indian Army rests on. So if I were to point out duty above self, the Indian Army, whether in war or in peace, they put themselves put their safety, their well-being much beyond the that call of the duty. That the call of the duty, the people, the nation comes first, always and every time. That's a very strong culture to imbibe. When you understand the value of self-sacrifice and the necessity of self of uh, uh, service without beyond self. The other aspects of it, which are equally important, are the concept of honor, the concept of integrity, and most importantly, teamwork, and finally courage. Now, all these values which you see, which we imbibe in the army, which helps us make good leaders in every circumstances. You will see that the same values work more or less with different shades and with different connotations in all other organizations, irrespective of it. So if I'm in the transportation sector today, and we are responsible for running a metro system, the service above self is a paramount quality which makes us think first about our commuters, their safety, their security, and their well-being. So this is a translatable, I would say, value. So for me, all these values, the concept of integrity, being, punctuality, being, giving good service, comes from your sense of integrity, that I will try, I and my team will strive best to give a unique service or an excellent service to my commuters. So these are translatable, sort of work cultures or values, which I think has traveled with me from the military, from my army background to my current corporate background. Yes, there are a difference. The army is organized for with a different objective. Its objective is to keep our nation safe, its borders safe, and from external, internal threats, and you basically meant to fight a war. But that said, these sets of principle of running that organization and this remain same. Where it differs is in the corporate world. What I learned really, and what I saw differently, was that you, whatever business you are, you have to think about its viability. How do you make it sustainable, both in terms of finances and both in terms of and what it contributes to the community. So for us, that is a very important, sort of something that you learn in the corporate world, in terms of that otherwise your business will become redundant, either financially or in terms of its relevance. uh, the other thing that I, sort of would say that was different in the corporate world is the kind of business risks that we assess and how we deal with it. Risks and threats of what we worked in military sphere are entirely different set from what we assess in the corporate world. But again, there are certain similarities there too, because you will have to correctly assess your threat or your risks, and you'll have to correctly assess your opportunities, strength and weaknesses in the military as well as in the corporate. So there were some areas in which there were the military stands absolutely as one of the oldest profession. It's I think most corporates, most organizations borrow largely from these words like strategy, tactics, goals, objectives. They come from the military parlance. So yes, it was a good change, but a lot of what I learned in my army services in there works in my current corporate role.
Okay, true. So, the pandemic has raised awareness about the cleanliness and hygiene in the public places. How pandemic has influenced spending on housekeeping and cleaning for Mumbai Metro One. How Mumbai Metro One has managed to achieve these standards?
Well, before I go to the pandemic and what we did for the pandemic, I need to put across this that the station cleanliness or health and hygiene at the station in Mumbai Metro and in all metros, I must say that the metros all over India have established a different standard as far as the cleanliness, as far as the comfort of the commuters. But particularly in Mumbai Metro, we made our cleanliness of the station one of our USPs. In fact, in one of the about a couple of years back, there was a survey done on public spaces in Mumbai, and Mumbai Metro stood absolutely at the top for as a public space, which is very clean. So it has always been in our DNA. It has always been part of our culture to keep our metro clean. We spend a lot of effort doing it. We effort and finances both. We during the pandemic or post-pandemic, when there were 8 months we were locked down. When we opened, we realized that or before we opened, we realized that the demand or the requirement of the commuter will have to be factored in. So mass rapid transport system where people were supposed to come together and travel would not be considered safe until and unless we did something to tell them that it is safe. So we took a slew of how should I say, measures to ensure that our commuters are safe. We carried out every touch point. We sort of mapped all the touch points where the customer can come in physical touch. For instance, a lift button or the escalator rail, the guards of the rail guards of the train. So all these spaces were all mapped, and we started sanitizing them periodically. This was done in a very scientific and a very fastidious manner to ensure that people get that sense that even if they touch, there's no, the space has been sanitized. So that was one, that every touch point was sanitized. We also build in certain ways and means by which, in terms of technology, we allowed that people to feel safe. For instance, and we publicize them. For instance, the air conditioning system, we made it in a manner that it brought in more air and there was better ventilation. Similarly, at all the stations, we had longer dwelling time when they stood so that natural air can come in. Because this was what we thought, and correctly so, we thought that would keep, build up that, restore that confidence of our commuters to come back. And well, I must say that it is that we were successful to a great extent because the commuters did come back. So yes, they have reposed their faith in the mass rapid transit system. Thanks to all the efforts that we did, and that's great.
Okay, sir. Mumbai Metro Line 1 is the second PPP metro project after Gurgaon Rapid Metro. However, Gurgaon Rapid Metro and Hyderabad Metro are running with huge loss. What are your strategies to operate Mumbai Metro 1 as a successful PPP metro?
Okay, that's a that's a good question because you see the projects and the few as we go ahead in India needs to have a relook at how they finance themselves. I don't think that the infrastructure story of India is going to be government funded for very long. With the requirement of public-private partnership of private capital coming into the infrastructure sector is is non-debatable. It is necessary, and there is movement both by the government and private players to sort of push it in the right direction. Having said that, there are major challenges. Now, any project to be sort of to be for it to be called successful, it has to be financially viable. Now, financial viability has two aspects to it. Let me sort of bring out these two categories little with a degree of clarity. First is at the planning and project stage. When we come for bidding, if the cost of capital is very heavy, high for these kind of projects where there's a long gestation period for you to recover your money, and recovering money is important for any project, more so for a private player, because he's putting his money to for him to be able to repay the banks and earn a certain amount of return on his investments. Given that the availability of capital for PPP projects in infrastructure needs to be made available at an interest rate which is sustainable. Now, it can be worked out for every project. The lending agencies can take a look at them, but the need for government to support there and to give that kind of a sovereign, sort of a hand to the whole help, holding hand to the whole project is the key to it at the project stage. Now, post project stage, a couple of things needs to be seen. Now, these infrastructure projects are expensive. They take money. And like I said, the returns are over a longer period. So the fares issue should be revisited. I do understand that mass rapid transport systems are for the masses, and you cannot have fares beyond a threshold. It pinches the pockets of people. But having said that, a certain degree of balance between what the financial viability of a business needs vis-a-vis what is the affordability needs to be examined, and that needs to be sort of established. As far as the private player is concerned, we have to be very, very nimble. We have to be very, very flexible on this. There are two major streams today of your revenues. So one is a fare box that comes from your tickets and ticket sale, and the second is non-fare box that comes from various sources like retail, advertisement, real estate, and so on and so forth. Now, you know that the fare box is fairly sort of described as a function of ridership. You can push some amount of it, but it is more or less set as to how much ridership you will get, and an incremental increase over a period of time. It is the non-fare box that the private players need to examine very carefully and sort of explore. I will tell you, the potential in that is huge. It is only limited by our imagination. We've got to innovate ourselves. Like I would give some examples where our teams, they went out and found very innovative ways of creating revenue. One of them, for instance, was using our viaduct as a mode for transport of cable lines, and that gave us very good revenue over a period of time. These cable lines, which service the entire TV systems and things like that, or communication systems, we use them. We gave them space or to travel through a viaduct. So these and many other sources are gradually opening up, which we need to look at to increase our revenue stream. One important thing is that all of us need to be extremely cost conscious. We need to have a bottom line very clearly sort of in front of our eyes. A couple of things can be done on this. A large cost is on maintenance, is on costs like salaries, electricity. lots can be done in each of these spheres. A simple example would be that you spend so much of money doing preventive maintenance, the same kind of maintenance over a period of time. We need to shift our focus from there into predictive maintenance. We need to employ various means to see that does that thing need periodic maintenance, or should we intervene at a correct stage with the correct kind of maintenance tools. Similarly, I've been employing AI for routine jobs, for routine tasks. In doing it better, would sort of cut down on staff cost to a great extent. So managing your cost will always remain a big time focus for all private players. Beyond that, yes, again, the concept of PPP, as I say, is the word partnership, public private partnership. And the word partnership needs to be understood both by the private player and the public player so that the project is viable. Does that answer your question, or would you like me to elaborate or something?
Okay, sir. All right, sir. Please tell our viewers about some commuters friendly initiatives started by Mumbai Metro 1 to win the trust of Mumbaikars.
Oh, uh, that's a favorite. You know, like I started off that before Mumbai Metro came in, the commuter's experience of traveling has never been very pleasant. I mean, he gets up in a say for instance a suburban train. He's jostled around. He's pushed in. He's pushed out. As sort of the word is "pude chala." It is not very comfortable. If a person loses something in many of these metros, in our uh, for instance, I would say in a three-wheeler, he doesn't know whom to say, what to say. He leaves his bag there, it's lost. He doesn't know he will ever get back. Though we hear stories of rickshaw wallahs coming and giving the bag back, but that's off and on. For us, when we started it, we put our commuters at the center of all our operations. We said that they need to be taken care of, and that was the key to everything that we have done in terms of being friendly to them. So I'll give you a couple of examples which so we somewhere in 2014-15 we started a drive called 2 minutes, 2 minute motto. So no passenger, when he from the time he enters a station, should spend more than 2 minutes in sort of getting to the platform for the train. So we had, we reduced the queuing system at the ticketing counter by opening more ticket counters if required during peak hours, by increasing the number of products which you can do, by which you can do ticketing, self-ticketing. We at the security counters, we ensured that with having proper security, we are able to throughput our people faster, and so on and so forth, so that a person gets to his train fast and exits fast from his destination station. To this end, we really have worked very fastidiously on our ticketing system. I think Mumbai Metro is one of the metros which has got a multiple products to suit various category of commuters. We have, a paper QR ticket. We have a mobile QR ticket. We have a value card in which you just top up money and keep using it. We have a very flexible trip card, sort of double journey trip card. So we introduced a number of category of so that it's all categories of can take on the product that they like best and the way they want to buy best. Today, you don't have to queue to our counters. So you just have to download go to Paytm, download a mobile QR ticket, and you just keep, you just pass through. So that is empowering the commuter. We're soon going to come up with an open loop ticket in which, with a single card, You shall be able to pass, sort of breeze out of any station, and not only metros, in multimodal transport system in Mumbai in some time to come. But yes, we'll be the first one to introduce it. And so that's one area, the ticketing, the product, the way, sort of we empower the citizen. Another couple of things that I really, sort of pride on, whole metro takes pride on, is the last minute connectivity. Now, for this, we worked a lot in making tie-ups with ride shares, with Ola, and so that people can get onto our stations at the easiest, and also, sort of wherever they get down from, they get a quick ride to their workplace or to their home. Uh, Fortunately for us, the people also are very friendly, and sort of they have taken to these modes of transport very well. This last mile connectivity is very well. It's a congested place. In other cities, they have a parking space next to their metro stations. Mumbai cannot afford it. At least line one doesn't have any space for a parking station between from here to Versova to Ghatkopar. So what, in some places where we could, what we did was we started a very good initiative called My Bike. So you can just go down, sort of scan a code, pay and take a bike to your work or to your place and bring it back. So that's been immensely popular with many of our commuters. Another area where I would say that something that we have done to empower our commuters and really, kept up to our promise of being commuter centric, was that we listen to our commuters. If you lose, for instance, if you lose a purse, you be sure that you will get it, because somebody will collect it. It'll be handed over to lost and found. You'll all have to do is go to a station and say, I've lost this on this date at this time. It'll be connected to you. It'll be given back to you. Small things that you have a problem with a, sort of one of your value store pass, there is somebody at the station to listen to you. If you are not comfortable with that, you can call a 24-hour customer care line. You'll get a response. You can write an email. You'll get a response. So these are various ways that we listen to them. We place them at the center of our services. Where I would like to end with with one category of people which I think are missing in the mass transport system in Mumbai, and that is the people who are disabled. Now, I don't see a bus stand for where a person with who takes a wheelchair can sort of safely alight a bus. You can't alight a bus. You can't embus if you're wheelchair bound unless somebody puts a wheelchair inside. All our metros are designed and sort of made functional for all kinds of disabled people, from people in wheelchair to people with different degrees of disabilities, to old people, to to people with visual challenges. It is designed for that. So if we, for instance, our ramps from the road, we have ramps from the road going up to the lifts, from where the lift takes a wheelchair person up. Even the buttons of the wheel of the lift are placed in a manner that a person in a wheelchair can operate it, and it is also called brails, and once he comes in, there's a particular gate in all our in the ticketing gate which is white to take in a wheelchair. We've got docking stations in these trains where the wheelchair can sit in, and there is a grab bar for him. We've got disabled friendly toilets in each of these stations. So it's a big thing to reach out to a section of people who are, sort of disempowered because the transit system doesn't allow them to be part of the mainstream. So that I really sort of think is putting everybody into a scheme of things for being really customer centric.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. What are your thoughts on various infra projects being undertaken by MMRDA to transform the Mumbai metropolitan region's transportation sector?
Yeah. So MMRDA is the nodal agency as far as government of Maharashtra is concerned for the Mumbai's development of metro systems and transportation systems majorly. And MMRDA consistently for the last, I would say, 1.5 decade has been doing a great job around it. The plans for networking the whole city is very well thought out. The DPRs, etc., are very. The detailed project reports all have been made in a very planned manner. Currently, you see, other than our metro, which is operation, you see 6 other metros coming up and at various stages. Line 2A, Line 7 are nearly complete, partially complete, and they're likely to be, sort of commissioned soon. And line 4, 6, and so on forth are in the making. Now, a step back when you see that what is going to happen in Mumbai a couple of years ahead when these projects get, commissioned. Mumbai is going to be very nicely networked from north to south, east to west, and these will allow or empower our Mumbaikars to move around freely in a much shorter time, with a much better, I would say, experience, because all these metros will be modern systems. A couple of them are the line 3 from Kolaba to Seeds is underground, and they are going to completely change the way Mumbaikars travel, because they will all work on the principle of putting the customer at the center of their services. I hope so. And it will significantly decrease the time that Mumbaikars spend traveling. Honestly, it's criminal the amount of time we spend traveling from one end to another, and will also sort of help commerce. It'll also help people, the movement of people from the narrow centers of Western Rail and Central Rail into integrated cities, so to say. The projects are also being developed under different models. Some of them, like ours, is a PPP. One is being developed under DMRC. One is being developed under another agency. So they're being developed in different models, and which is giving true experience to MMRD also, and it allows flexibility in sort of developing these projects. I see a lot of speed with which they are being executed in a city like Mumbai, whose congestion is fabled. You can only expect that the speed with which you see happening in other greenfield, other cities, almost like greenfield projects, is not a real comparison. It is the grit with which it is being done, which is remarkable. The complexities of each of the project is huge. But I think in a couple of years, the Mumbaikars will see a differently networked and serviced transportation system, and they'll be happy for it.
Okay, sir. So, anything you want to share with our viewers in respect to various initiatives being undertaken by the government of India in rail and metro sectors?
I think in the last decade or so, there has been huge, push in the rail and in the overall transportation sector, and specifically in the rail and urban transport. When I say rail, I mean the long distance trains run by the railway, Indian Railway, and when I say metro systems, urban transport system is primarily. So both these areas have got huge fillip. Lot of finances come into it. A lot of government push has come into it, into both initiating new projects and completing old projects. So it's a phenomenally a decade of phenomenal growth, I would say, where the major focus, I think, should come up now is the quality of services that we provide, whether it's in Indian Railways or in the projects, in the upcoming metro projects. It's to upgrade from where we are to something much better. For instance, the ticketing experiences. For instance, the experiences at the station. Much can be done, and I think that's where the focus of the government should be. The other area, like I said, is bringing in more private players into the space of transportation, because they can bring in the efficiency of a private company with the cost consciousness, as well as they can sort of uh, get more capital, more projects faster into the ecosystem.
Okay, sir. So last question. This is our feedback question. What do you think about our initiative, Industry Talks program, and any suggestion which we can include in our future episodes? Please share your thoughts.
I think it's a very good initiative. You see, it's always good to for industry people to speak out and interact with a larger audience and talk about you know what they do and how do they bring sort of certain uh, mm, uh, public facing facilities to the people. And it's a I think it's extremely important for public at large to know and the hold people who run these projects, who commit, who sort of execute these projects accountable for what they do. So it's a very good thing, and it also serves as a good knowledge sharing platform for various kinds of people. Beyond that, I think it's a you guys are doing a great job. Both your we subscribe to your magazine, and I think it's one of the uh, best magazines as far as reaching out to inputs on public infrastructure to the public.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Khushbu will take over from here. Over to you, Khushbu.
You can join our next episode of Industry Talk program. To fill a schedule, you can email me at grobis@urbantransportnews.com, or you can directly call me on my number 9343558967. For better reach of your company, product and services, sponsorship option is also available. I would love to serve you. For more details, you can log in our website www.metrorailtoday.com, www.urbantransportnews.com. So, viewers, I hope you liked the today's episode. We will come back soon with another amazing personality. Till then, take a good care of your health and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Anushka.
Thank you very much, Vishnu. Take care.